Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have another special guest on. And I was very impressed when he and I connected on LinkedIn because just looking at what he's been able to create in an industry that you usually don't hear a lot about, but he's created such a great business in that industry. So I definitely want to welcome Mr. John Griffin to the show. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, before we jump into your business, I mean, you have the largest Black-owned security business, in the country. But before we jump into that, tell us a little bit about, what was your life before you started this firm? What's your background?
So after graduating from college, I worked in law enforcement. So I started with the Sheriff Department of Cook County, and then later on to State's Attorney's Office of Cook County as an investigator, and then detailed to the Secret Service for computer forensics. And then from there, well, all the while building my business. So
Wow.
as you know, as Black people, we hustle, we moonlight. So I always had a dream to help out and with financing and raising my children. That was the primary goal, income supplemental. And then the business just took off. It didn't take off like in instantly. It took me years to get my first contract, but my life was, working every day in law enforcement, enjoying my job, enjoyed the career of law enforcement, and became an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Now, did you always have kind of that entrepreneurial itch about yourself, or was that something that kind of
Always have,
developed?
always have. My mom told me a story. She said, when you were 9 years old, you always used to say, Mom, I want to be a businessman. I want to fly around in planes and I want to wear suits and I want to do this. And I said, really? And she had me recall that memory. And I was like, wow. I was so impressed when I saw people and our counterparts conducting business, But, as you get older and you get into school, and then your career takes you over here. My major was business in college, my master's in public policy. So I was basically dealing with, public entities. And then I don't know how I end up over here, but it's been a blessing. It's been a journey, and I love it.
Awesome. So what was that kind of that journey like of, transitioning out of working in your career to then it's just like, hey, I'm going to make that step to actually
Yes,
focus on
sir.
my business full time. What was that like?
Yes, sir. So for me, as I said in our podcast, I was a little timid because, every 2 weeks the eagle lands. You get paid from a government agency. They pay you very well, um, and giving up that, guaranteed check, you know, every 2 weeks was a little intimidating. Especially I had children, I had a wife, and I had 4 children. So I have 4 children. I have 4 children, and our sisters get. You start bringing money in, you know what happened. So, but my wife is totally behind me. But I came to a point in my career in law enforcement where I had to make a decision, and they kind of forced me out, you know, and I was on my own. And I had to actually build my business, sink or swim. At the time, AGB was about 8 to 9 years old, and I wasn't stable as I thought I would, should be to be on my own. But I did it. I went out there with the help of my spouse and prayer, and we just put our head to the ground and we went for it. So for your listeners, I don't want to pontificate to make it seem like, oh, I was like, let's do this. No, I was afraid. I was afraid. I had, my son just started De La Salle High School, and I was like, okay, I had to pay for this tuition. I gotta, pay my mortgages, and so it was a little intimidating. But I tell you, if you want freedom, financial freedom, you want to not only leave a legacy of spirituality to your children, your family, entrepreneurship is the way out. This is the way. I would not, have not looked back.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I guess, how old are your children now?
Oh, well, my son's 28, the oldest son. He went to Hampton University, graduated. My daughter is 25. She did a program at DePaul University. My youngest girl is 20. She's at Spelman College. And my baby boy just graduated. He's in Morehouse. He's
Okay.
18.
Nice.
So
Nice.
28 to 18. So they kind of grew up with us in the business, you know.
Mhm.
So and seeing about giving back and developing businesses and know how business is supposed to run. So
Mhm.
that's the greatest gift.
Gotcha. And I think that's interesting because that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs talk about is just like you're wanting to, build a legacy. So I'm curious, as, your children saw kind of the journey that the business went through. I mean, what is their take or what's their perspective, when you ask them or you guys have conversations about the business and where it is today?
Yes, sir. When we did a podcast with my 4 children about the same question, they thought it was very advantageous to see their dad. There's nothing more powerful than seeing your father, your mother gainfully employed and building for the community and for yourselves. They saw the smaller house to the bigger house. They saw how we employed the numbers and helped other families and increased their acumen in terms of business. They all worked in the business, helping build a business and worked different departments. In fact, my son John, who's also full time in the business, the 28-year-old, he's also an alpha, by the way. Uh, John was my first fleet manager. I only had 5 cars. So he went online, college student at Hampton University, found the fleet program to manage our cars. So they seen. But the most important thing my wife and I taught our children was always give back. You have to not just provide a job. See, as a Black entrepreneur, we don't have the luxury of just providing a job. We have to be counselors, bankers, ministers, mothers, fathers, and this all encompass a Black entrepreneur. So the kids saw and they continue to see what we're doing with our foundation, with the scholarships, what we're doing in the Institute, with continuing education to our community, the free GED programs, things that we're doing to help our community. So you come into a place, you come into the inner city, and you build a business model, it must entail community outreach.
Mhm.
So they saw that. And now all of them, even my baby boy's 18, Morehouse business major, my daughter, she wants to be a psychologist, a neuropsychologist. She said, Dad, I'm gonna start my own business one day.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have my own business. And I'm gonna have this and I'm gonna have that. So yes, I will definitely be a neuropsychologist, but I also want to have my own practice. So
Okay.
the idea of entrepreneurship is in its spirit. Coupled with giving back,
Mhm.
service.
Okay, awesome. Now, you've teased us a couple of times mentioning briefly about the podcast. Tell us a little bit about the podcast so the listeners can go check it out.
Sure, it's called the Secure Podcast. They can get it on all platforms, Apple, Spotify. And basically, it's me and my wife, actually, Dr. Deidre Griffin, my wife, Anitra Griffin. I can't put her name out. I'm going to get in trouble. Um, she is a magnificent woman. Her story is so empowering because here's a sister who raised 4 children, went to school to get her a bachelor's degree while she's pregnant. We met in college. We've been together 30 years, maybe 26, going on 27. So this sister got a master's degree. She has a Type 75. She's a National Board Certified teacher. She has a superintendent endorsement, and she has a doctorate in education.
Wow.
All the while helping her husband build a business. So she's my real hero. She's the one that's to help me with the brains because I'm very um, idealistic. Like, hey, I'm gonna go to the moon. She's more like, okay, before we go to the moon, we gotta get a rocket, we gotta get fuel, we gotta get a test pilot. She's that sister, and she's the glue to hold our family together. And she gave her career up to join me in the business full time in
Wow.
2014 to partner with her husband. And because she is the salt of my earth and the woman, she has helped the business expand greatly. So
Wow.
the podcast talks about those. We're on season 3. We've done a total of 7 or 8 podcasts, and it's actually going through chronicling how do you be an entrepreneur, what do you look for, struggles, in marriages, because as you know, father out of the house trying to build and chase money,
Mhm.
mom saying, you got these boys here, you gotta be home. Well, they gotta eat. Well, yeah, but you have these boys. And then she's doing her career and I'm doing my career. How did the two come together? How did you guys figure this out? because there's thousands of couples around the country do not see Black couples working together to empower and to grow together. There's really, brother, unity and diversity. So although we took different paths, we unified to build, because the common goal was build family, build each other, and build our community.
Gotcha.
The
Gotcha.
podcast chronicle all those trials and tribulations.
Okay. And now speaking of that, now let's jump into your business, because you've been able to successfully build a phenomenal business. I mean, the
Thank you,
largest
sir.
private security firm in the country. So, when it came down to, the business, like what has that journey felt like for you in just seeing, more people's lives change by being able to employ people and give back to the community?
Sir, is nothing more is nothing more gratifying than blessing others. And to see people who come into AGB that don't have any skills, but as they see them 6 months to a year, they're using PowerPoint, they're doing presentations, they're articulating, and they are now developing other individuals under them, showing them how to grow and how to make money, how to develop, is nothing more gratifying. I can tell you, and again, it's been challenging, but if you're gonna do any type of business and be entrepreneurial, you gotta have grit, and you gotta be able to be strong, and you gotta be able to. The naysayers gonna come out, hey, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and we were the vanguard in our family. We didn't have anybody in front of us. We just held each other. We in prayer, and we just went forward. And I tell you, man, it's nothing more gratifying. It's in people been me 16 years, 13 years, 14. They're married, they have houses, they have children. They are now buying property and doing things like that. They are becoming entrepreneurs on their side while they're building AGB. I mean, man, it's such a blessing. So
Awesome.
we're happy, and that's the blessing of it. Always giving back. It's a ministry, That's the blessing of it.
Gotcha. So what has that been like? I mean, as your organization grows, where your level of leadership has to grow as well, what have been some of the things like that you've done to, make sure that you continue to grow as a leader so that you can effectively lead a great business and a great team of people?
Great question. So as an alpha man, we like education. So I went through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And I was a 2012 cohort, been in several business seminars. I belong to several organizations like Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce and also the Channel Business Association and things like that, because they have to educate me on how to grow and run my business. I'm constantly involved in, as is, my trade organizations, learning new technologies and new ways to do things. Because as a leader, I got to keep learning and keep growing. Because I tell you, when I started this business, I wasn't quite understanding how to operate a business. I didn't even know about being bankable, about reading financial statements, about what's EBITDA and why is that important? Why is retained earnings important? I didn't, I'm from Inglewood, you know what I'm saying? I'm from, so I learned that through Goldman Sachs. I learned that through other business seminars I went to, because I had to continue to grow. But the secret sauce of growing a business is grit and perseverance. But you can only do that so long, passion so long. You got to get skills. So I've been blessed to have people in my world come to me, help me develop and learn. And so continued growth is paramount.
Gotcha.
I cannot, because I never sat in a seat like this. I mean, so I didn't know, I can't be instinctive. I got to learn. Oh no, you need to understand how to do this.
Gotcha.
And some of the biggest things I had to learn was, no, boss, you can't be involved in when there's progressive discipline. You can't be involved when you are the CEO of the largest Black-owned security company. We don't need you to go bid on a contract. Now you got to kind of lay back, because I'm used to have my hands on everything. Because it's my baby. I birthed it. So it was kind of hard to detach. But with my staff and my marketing team and leadership of Tefair and Vanetta and people, coming in, I was able to, it was hard for me to let go,
Gotcha.
and trust my team. So that was a challenge.
Awesome, awesome. Now, for the listeners and the people that are watching, I do want to state this. Like, I did not prep his answer because I always laugh because I'm a CPA. So when you started talking about the finance and the numbers, I'm like, that's right up my alley. I did not prep that answer. That's just the very real part of being a business owner, is having to learn and understand that part of your business.
Man, that is paramount. You got to be bankable. They want to look at your ratios, your quick ratios. They want to understand, the most important part of financial statements is your balance sheet. That's the most. I thought, no, income statement. No, your balance sheet. What goes on the balance sheet. That's why it's called the balance sheet. And just being bankable, have access to capital. Yeah. You're fooling yourself as an entrepreneur if you don't think you need access to capital to grow. If you're not bankable, how to become bankable, you forget about it. See, I didn't know that. I thought that I can do it on passion. No. You gotta understand, your numbers. You gotta understand, why EBITDA is so important. That's so important. And a basis, like tax basis. Do you have basis and all that? I was like, where did this come from? But you learn it. You learn to speak the language because you go in front of banks and investors. They're gonna ask you these questions, and you gotta be able to articulate this. You have a command of your numbers, and that's very important.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about, the services and, products about your business.
Great. So AGB is gainfully employed in providing security services for the protection of your property, your data, and your person. So we protect everything from the physical to the virtual. So we provide cyber solutions for people that's involved in need to have cyber solutions and things like that. We provide an unarmed security guard services. That's our bread and butter. But the growth plan is cyber. That's where we're going. Also investigations. People won't say, I need to find my daughter. I need to find this, or my husband is cheating on me. Find my husband, cheaters, or whatever. Fingerprinting, live scan fingerprinting. Also training. Training is huge. Concealed carry, unarmed, armed. We have an institute called AGB Institute that does life skills, Microsoft products in terms of Excel, PowerPoint, a lot of soft skills and technical skills. So that's our training department. So we kind of bifurcated the company. We say, okay, this is the, security services solutions. Here's the training component. So if you go to agbinvestigative.com, you'll find the school, you'll find the foundation, things like that. So we're happy. But what we're most proud of is the ministry of giving back.
Gotcha. And speaking of that, I know you just mentioned the website, but can people also find you on like social media to see, what you guys are doing in the community?
Yes, sir. agbinvestigative.com and Facebook, LinkedIn, all social platforms, and the Secure Podcast and all different platforms as well, Spotify, Apple, things like that. So we just happy because we feel that the secret to building your business is to care about people. Mm-hmm. As you care about people and we put people first and develop those people, and then we will have a better product, which is our ambassadors on the street.
Gotcha.
And we've been very blessed and very fortunate.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap up, one last question that I want to ask, and I know you've given us so many tips and pieces of wisdom, so I'll cut it down to just one. What's one more piece of wisdom that you think entrepreneurs should embrace if they want to be successful as a business owner?
Small steps count too. As an entrepreneur, you're looking for the big accomplishments. You want to go up to the bat. You want to hit a home run. Well, a base hit is good. Yeah. Those are small steps. You want to advance the ball. That's all you want to do. And as an entrepreneur, you get kind of you're saddened when things don't go as you plan it to be. You get kind of sad. You're like, dang, or you want something that's you bid it for and you don't get it. Because failure is feedback. Failure is feedback. Small steps count too. Please understand, every no is a small step. And when you get the no, take it as a vitamin and you keep moving. That's all you have to do. And you'll look up. You'll be like, man, I've done all this, and to take time to look back. So my advice is small steps count too. Take no as a vitamin and just keep moving. Keep moving.
Awesome. Well, definitely thank you for, giving us the time to come on the show, to tell us your story and to share some wisdom and insight. And definitely we will keep an eye on all the great success that is going on with your company, as well as what you're doing to give back and make an impact in the community. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, be sure to click the subscribe button and follow us on all social media platforms as the Business Talk Library.